This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to a wonderful, hope-feel, cozy-ish time of the year for you. This is, of course, Bells with Books. I am one of your co-hosts, Miranda. I feel always weird, like, introducing myself. I'm like, hi, this is me. I think I'm cool. Not really, actually. I don't think I'm cool at all. But my co-host and my friend of, like, almost 10 years now, by the way, Bianca. Do you realize that? Almost. It's like...
Has it really? Wait, I haven't... Hello!
Hello!
Has it really almost been 10 years?
I think it's almost been 10 years.
Oh,
because I was thinking back on something the other day, and I was like, what? Yeah.
No.
They say friendships
time isn't
last
real.
7 years. I mean, they're going to last forever.
Well, it looks like you're stuck with me then.
And you're stuck with me, I think is how it goes. Anyway, welcome back, everyone. We are so glad to have you here on Bells with Books. We are entering the Burr months, which means Miranda is very happy, and we're hitting cozy season. So this month we're going to have lots and lots to talk about cozy books, fantasy, mystery, everything. We have huge discussions for you as always. But how have you been doing, Bianca, since our last meet?
I've been okay. It's just been raining almost every day now for a week, and I'm tired of the rain. I miss the sun.
We have had no rain in like weeks. I would love it.
I would love to send it to you because I am a lizard. I need the sun and the heat, and this isn't working for me.
This is where our opposites kick in. So, like, everyone thinks that, like, Bianca is, like, the and you're really not. Everyone thinks that she's, like, the cold heart, like, wants all the rain, give me the darkness, and actually, no, that's me.
I need the sun.
Everybody's like, Grady, you're so bubbly. I was like, you don't know me.
You don't know what I eat for breakfast.
Nothing is cold, dead heart. Anyway, actually, we're supposed to be getting rain about 4 a.m. I also never knew one of the things I would be discussing as much as an adult would be the weather, but it makes me very happy.
Well, because when the weather hits just right, like, for what you're doing, that's what's important. Like, it would be fine for this weather if it was later in the year, like, closer to, like, the end of November, early December, because then I could just sit and watch Twilight. That'd be great.
But I also, where I'm at, cool off sooner than you do. Like, we're about to start. Like, tomorrow, it's supposed to drop. Like, today, it was 80-something again, and it's supposed to start raining about 4 a.m., which we haven't, like I said, we haven't had in weeks. Like, actually have, like, a burn advisory. Like, be careful. Ooh. Like, our yard is dead kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to start raining at, like, 4 a.m., and it's supposed to be 66 tomorrow.
You get to wear a long sleeve shirt.
I do, because I have to go out. I have to go for a walk in the rain, unfortunately. I have a dentist appointment.
I do, too. Except mine's later this week.
Yeah, mine Caden's is tomorrow. So, but that's like... Not super. Actually, I'm a weirdo. The dentist is kind of cozy for me. So anyway, add that to the list of cozy, weird Miranda things. But we have lots of cozy things to talk about. This first one, so we're going to kind of cover book and social media news. And being fully transparent, I am asking Bianca to speak on this topic, this first topic that has to do with social media and book news. And I'll briefly explain why. This has popped up not on just Facebook, but it has been, because I think you said you'd also seen some complaints about this.
Yes.
Okay. So it's been popping up on, like, TikTok, especially in Facebook reader groups. And it popped up, like, multiple times in one day in a reader group that I'm in. And I started getting just, like, really irritated by it. And I shared it with mine and Bianca's entire friend group. Because you and a couple others are actually librarians. And so people were talking about when libraries, specifically libraries, not bookstores, that's a whole nother discussion, but when libraries have to fully trash, which is something you've actually been working on this summer at your library as well, fully trash books. And there were a lot of people like, you need to donate these. This is not right. Like the complaints upon complaints, like the pile. And I realized people genuinely don't understand. I think they see this stack of books and don't get me wrong. Sometimes there are books in here that look brand new. They probably are, but there are legitimate reasons why you cannot donate the books. And then I've even been told, which you'll get into, sometimes you do bend the rules a little. Not you, maybe, but like some librarians find a way to bend the rules, not break them, and donate what they can. But even then, like, there's only so much that people will take. But like the amount of complaints that Bianca and I have come across of people being so angry with libraries and librarians for simply doing their job, which is basically culling the herd and getting rid of what they cannot keep anymore. They apparently don't understand it. So if you could like quick breakdown, if you feel like you need to go in full detail, that's fine too. But if you could break down to the people that maybe don't understand why it's done the way it is, or you know what I'm trying to say. But like, I was very interested.
I have now worked at 4 different libraries that has gone through, we call it a weeding process. Just like you weed a garden, you weed a library collection. Weeding can happen in various forms for different reasons. One of the first libraries I worked at, they weeded more for, one, updating the collection, and then for a more diverse collection. So their collection was very, very old. They ran reports and they figured out that the average age of the book in that library at the time was about 25 years old. And this was at an academic library. If you know anything about academics, you know that information is constantly changing. So for the average age of their books to be 25 years old, that's an old collection.
That is.
So they went through and they first weeded by... You look at the year of the book versus how many times it's been used or checked out. There's different ways to tell if it's used versus checked out. Every library does it differently. I won't get into all that. But if a book hasn't been checked out in, let's say, 20 years, it's automatically gone. If it's only been checked out once in the last 10 years, does that warrant keeping it? Like, it gets a little dicey in those situations. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at the book and you can just evaluate it to see, oh, this is a diet book from 1995. That's
clearly
obviously,
yeah,
it's not needed in 2021. Was that when I was doing that one? Anyways, it was like 20 years old at that point. So there's various reasons for weeding a collection. Depending on the type of library and depending on how that library is funded, also tells you how you can get rid of those books. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say donate them. One, the library is the place you donate books. If the library doesn't want or need that book, there is nowhere else to donate it.
Exactly.
Hard stop on that sentence. 2, there are certain rules with government property because I'll say 95% of libraries are funded with some type of government money. So if something is bought with government money, it cannot be freely given away. That money has to be tracked very carefully with the item. And if it's no longer useful, it has to go through a certain process to get out of the system. And that's just how it is. But the big thing that you and I both saw was, why can't you donate these? Why can't you donate these? The library is the place where stuff gets donated. If it's not being used, it's literally just taking up space for something that could be used. I was very disheartened with this whole discourse started with actually a library in Florida that did a mass weeding. From what I could tell, everything was done properly, but there was such big public outlash from it that admin of that library actually got in like super big trouble. But from what I could tell, they followed protocol. It was just the public lost their minds.
I feel like there's a little confusion as well, because some of the posts I saw, they were like, they're trashing all the banned books, so they're doing this because of banned books, which you and I have discussed banned books and how we stand and feel about most of those. And I'm a proponent of, read banned books, but that was not the case in any of these situations, which I think is like leads to misinformation on top of the already huge, I don't want to say misinformation. I want to use the word ignorance. And when I use that, I want people to stop for a second, because I feel like that word is misused so much that people think when I say it's ignorant or it's ignorance that I'm being rude and disrespectful. But like the true meaning of the word, it means like they don't understand. And that's simply what this is here. It's like it's ignorance on their part because they don't understand. They don't know. But I think you're right. Like part of the thing that really irritated me was like how public the one in Florida, for example, was. And there was a lot of backlash over like, how dare they do this because of banned books, and weeding, as you say, or culling is the word I was using. It's not, it had nothing to do with banned books either.
It did not. Everything I read about it was that particular library, they were just following their weeding protocol. Which is
what you do. How often does a library do it? Or does that depend on whether it's a public or private and all those things?
It varies by institution. Okay. The most common one I've seen, because I've worked mostly in academic libraries, is about 20 years. So if a book hasn't been checked out in 20 years, they look at it, see if there's an updated version of the book they can get, just various things. But if it hasn't been checked out in 20 years, it needs to go. It's just taking up space and collecting dust.
I mean, maybe I'm going to get some backlash on this, but I feel like if you have a whole stack of books that they haven't been checked out in 5 years, that's just my opinion.
Well, I want to say at one point it wasn't 20 years, but with the pandemic and everything shutting down, I think they extended it to 20 years, most institutions. I've seen a lot of institutions say they've extended their reading protocol because of the pandemic. So it's not just where I've worked.
Libraries, if you started doing 5 years, one, the funds to replace those and the manpower to pull them, and some library sizes, like, they depend on looking full. So I understand that reason, but I'm just saying, like, realistically, if a book has not been checked out in 5 years, or like you said, it's a diet book from like 1981 or even 1990, a lot of the information is probably harmful information in today's age because we've done so much research since then. My other thing is encyclopedias. People are getting angry that they're tossing encyclopedias. And I'm like, do you know how
literally no one uses them?
No. I mean, I think someone in my family kept a set, and it's just for like collection reasons. And we were looking at them right before I moved to America, before I left America and moved to Europe. Dear God. Before I moved to Europe, and they're like, it's an encyclopedia, so there's a lot of wrong information in there. So even if someone was like trying to use them, you'd be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, for prime example, like they still say Czechoslovakia is a country.
No, yeah, that's way outdated.
Oh yeah. But I appreciate you explaining that, because like that just really bothered me, the people not understanding. And then I was with you. They're like, why don't you donate them? And I was thinking, most of us do donate our books to the library. So like they've already been donated.
Yep.
And then I had the one person actually commented and said, why not donate them to a prison library? I actually have knowledge on donating to a prison library, if any of you guys would ever like that. But they're strict. They are very strict. Yeah. Like, and it varies between library and library and the type of security it is. But I know at one point it was like we couldn't send hardbacks. There's a few women's prisons that are like no romance, which I'm like, come on now. But I mean, there are very strict rules to donating books to a prison, men's or women's. So I mean, I applaud you, one singular person that said that, but it's kind of not possible either. So
yeah.
And you said you did know of a library that sometimes they try to like call like schools or, maybe daycare centers or something and say, hey, would you like to come by and pick through things? And they don't even usually like.
Nope, went unanswered.
Yeah. So people are trying. Okay.
Yeah. I worked at one where they culled an entire like children's collection and then included like a bunch of toys and educational games and stuff like that. they tried to contact various daycares and like elementary schools, stuff like that. Gave them a good 2 months to come get it. Not a peep. No one responded.
That's crazy.
So we try.
Yeah. Well,
we the collective. We the collective.
I'm sure there are a lot more people out there like you that genuinely try, and you probably also genuinely cringe when you're like, we have to get rid of this. But it is what it is, and you're following basically the government rules too. Like,
yeah.
So.
But I mean, it's pretty fair. Like, I think 20 years is plenty of time for someone to be like, hey, I want that book.
Right.
But anyways, so that's my little rant on weeding collections at libraries.
No, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I did have one other bit of news that I wanted to bring up. This is from thebookseller.com. They just update publishing news and book news and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. This is from, I think, yesterday. Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book page proofs have been allocated to Cambridge University Library.
Yay!
It's as part of the government's acceptance in lieu scheme. There's multiple volumes of Kipling's proofs, including Rewards and Fairies and Puck of Pook's Hill. The arts minister said that, the arts minister of Great Britain, The Jungle Book is a family classic that has spawned countless other works, including the famous Disney 1967 cartoon film and the 2016 film. Now that these proofs will be available at Cambridge University Library, I'm sure they will provide more than the bare necessities for academics, aspiring novelists, and self-confessed bookworms. So I just thought that was really cool.
I've always wanted to go and visit Cambridge Library.
Cambridge and Oxford.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are my two dream libraries to see.
There's actually one in Prague, which is not far from me, that I really want to go to. But I've been told you kind of have to be prepared to show up like really early. And then like it actually only takes just a little bit of time to go through. So it's not like keeping me from going. It's just every time I've gone to Prague, I've had like a specific thing I've had to do. So trying to go over there and like get in line at like 7 a.m. has just not been in the cards.
Yeah.
So you actually
on.
have some.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you actually have some adaptation news this month.
Yeah.
Which actually, you have had a lot of it. So
I try and find what I can.
Yeah. Sometimes I find it and I'm like, oh, everybody already knows this.
Just a couple of things. In some press for It Ends With Us, Colleen said, like, in just a passing comment, that they are starting to look at casting for Verity. So I'm super excited about that. I was like, ma'am, you can't just like say that in passing and then walk off from the reporter.
No, you can't.
I need
you can't
to come
just be
back.
like, oh, by the way, we're casting for Verity. Bye.
That's basically what she did. I was like, Colleen.
She did. Like, ma'am, I would have messaged her sister and be like, Lynn, tell her to get her together. Like, she can't be doing that to us.
And then the other thing is that the adaptation of The Uglies is coming to Netflix this Friday, September 13th. I have not read that series, but I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I may have to check it out and just see if it's something I do want to read.
I have
and
never
it's starring,
read it either. I was curious.
It's starring Joey King, too.
Which she is really good.
Oh, I love her.
Yeah. Did you get to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder yet? I just remembered that when you said Netflix. My brain just went...
No, I have not.
I have not either. I actually heard from my cousin. She watched the show first, not knowing that it was a book. And then she's like, why didn't you tell me this was a book? And I was like, well, I thought you knew it was a book. And she read the book after. And she said this is one of the few times where she actually enjoyed the show more than the book, which you don't usually hear that. Most book readers are like, the book was better. And she said this time she felt it was the other way around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm going to have to get on that then.
I know. I'm like, I think I want to read the book first, though. I think I want to do it the flip-floppy.
The traditional way.
Yeah.
So with this starting the Burr months, we're starting to get all cozy over here. And I posted a little poll to Instagram this morning. And I asked, have you entered cozy season yet? I got 80% saying yes. No one said no. One person said, it's still summer. And I agree with that person. I'm with that person right now.
I'm sorry to you too. I was about to say, I don't know who this person is. I'm going to find them.
I'm not going to tell you.
It's one of our friends. I already know. I'm not an idiot. I think I know who it is. I'm not going to call him out. I mean, I might, but not right now. I'll be nice. Pretty sure. I'm ready for the bear months. Because, I mean, it is. So bring on the rain and the 60-degree weather and all the scary, spooky skeletons. Actually, I already have pumpkins sitting out.
It's still summer. Summer doesn't end until September 22nd.
Listen, you're talking to a witch. I know exactly when the solstices are, okay? But I don't want to hear it. In my heart of hearts, it is black nail, black dress, bring on the rain, spooky, scary skeletons time. Listen, I waited till September this year, okay?
I am proud of you for doing that.
Exactly. Jerry asked me actually weeks ago, he's like, all right, you bringing all the stuff out? And I was like, I guess not. But my boys also really, really like Halloween and fall as well. So, but I think I have to lose a little bit of my fall card because we were in Bratislava this weekend. And so for us, the pumpkin stuff hits later than like what you guys get it. Right. And I went in there and I was like, yes, I will take a pumpkin chai latte. Why is it bright orange? What did they change? What is going on here?
I don't know.
I don't know, because it's not supposed to be that color. And then also, boys and girls in America, that stuff's too sweet. What happened to me?
Now, see, I don't like liquid pumpkin, if you will. I don't like the pumpkin drinks. I love pumpkin rolls and like pumpkin pie and pumpkin cinnamon roll.
I love all those things too. Yeah.
I'll eat it. I won't drink it.
And if anything that they're like, oh, we use pumpkin pie spice, I'm like, yes. And normally I was like, because I don't like sugar in my coffee. I do like milk. So it's okay. But like I genuinely tried, and I looked at Jerry and I drank it because I paid $6 for it, which is another complaint I have, but I'll digress. But I was like, I think something happened and the fall girls are going to come for me because that thing was horrible.
Was it Starbucks or was it like a mom and pop?
No, it was Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
It was Starbucks, which I did not like in America at all. But the reason I go to them is because it's one of the few places in Europe you can get an actual iced latte. Yeah. We've talked about this. Iced lattes aren't super huge. There are places that do make them now. They're becoming like more popular. But basically, if you see a Starbucks, you know that you can get one.
Yeah.
And we were walking around and the wind was blowing and it was cool. And they said, pumpkin is back. And I was like, and Jerry goes, oh, go on. He knew, like, I didn't even have to ask. He goes, go on. And this time I got, and maybe it's because I got the chai, which I do like chai lattes, but I didn't like it this time.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I guess that's what like 2 years without pumpkin spice lattes will do to you living in Europe where things just aren't as sweet normally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that made me sad, but it's okay. I'm going to learn I'm going to go back on making my own at-home syrup and I can control the sweetness. So it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's better for you anyway.
It is the burr months to that one person. Come on, just embrace it. You know you want the fall.
No, I stand with that person.
Mm-hmm. You tell her I said what I said with my whole chest, okay?
Now, I do briefly want to go over, Goodreads has a cozy fall books category, I guess you could say.
Like the most read or something? Or
it's the most popular books that have been shelved as cozy fall.
I would just like to point out one of my very favorite books is on that list.
At
the top.
I'll just mention a few that either I know you and I have both read or we know is popular and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So number 1, which I don't think this is in any particular order.
No, it's not. It's not like a ranking. It's just like, here they are. Well, you know what? It may be based on
it may be
like
based
ratings.
on Yeah,
I'm looking at it. I think it's no. Okay.
No, it's not.
Scratch that. I thought it was, and then another one surprised me. But
so we have the and I'm not going to post these individual titles, but I will post the link to this in the show notes if anyone else wants to peruse this list.
Yes.
I'll make a note for that for myself right now. There we go. Okay. So we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore.
Yes.
One of Miranda's favorite books of all time. Yes. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. We have done a podcast on that.
We did.
That was this past March? Or is it last
It was
March?
for my birthday.
Okay,
it was for my birthday. Yeah.
The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I've read that one. It was pretty cute. I'm going to save that one. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. That one's been super popular on Book Talk recently. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. The Epic Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry.
Yes.
And this one's actually a graphic novel, Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell.
It's fantastic.
One of our favorite books, A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness.
5 stars. Must read. Chef's kiss.
I like the title of this one, so I'm going to mention it. Catch Me If You Candy by Ellie Alexander.
So cute. So cute. But I would say with that one, it is part of a Bake Shop Cozy Mysteries. Typically, those can be read where you start at any point in the series. But if you're one of those people that are like, I can't do that, just know that it's like number 17 in a series.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. Or Harrow. Then we have all the Alice Hoffmans are on here.
I would also note the Cider Shop Rules by Julianne Lindsay. It's technically number 3 in the book, but that whole series is just so cozy and like, highly
I'll
worth it.
I'll want to read on that then. Yeah. Wayward by Amelia Hart.
So good, 5 stars.
That one was I gave it 4. It was really good.
Yeah, it was one of my like all-time favorites now.
The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Another one of your favorites, Can't Spell Treason Without T by Rebecca Thorne.
Followed by another favorite, The House Witch.
Yep. The House Witch by Dellum Hawk. Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I've been wanting to read that one for a hot minute. And then 2 that I have read, The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. And The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Victoria Schwab.
Yep.
But there's really good ones on this list if anyone wants to get into the cozy feel. I will post a link in the show notes, or you can just, if you go to Google and type in Goodreads cozy fall books, it should come up.
Yes. Also, if you're not following us on TikTok yet, I've been covering a lot of cozy content, or trying my best to do a lot of fall / cozy. I will also have thriller and horror and spooky and all of those things to come. So be sure to check that out as well for your fall TBR lists. And I'm a mood reader, but I love a fall TBR. So my planned that I've already started TBR will be up soon. And the Bianca's recommendations for what you should read in the fall. Because she's also a mood reader. So you don't really make a fall TBR list. You're like, I do what I want. But she has recommendations. So her recommendations of what you should put on your fall TBR, if you create one, will be up as well.
And now, Miranda and I are going to cover separate books this month. We both picked books that can be put in the cozy fantasy category. Miranda, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'm trying to remember who went first last time, but I think it's been a minute since we've read separate books.
I was like, we've done the same book for a little while now.
We have. Normally we, I think I went first last time because we did the Drive to Survive, Gunther Steiner and Clarabeau. And so how about you go first this time? So these are cozy fantasy reads, not just per what we think falls under cozy fantasy, but both of the books that we chose are actually listed by Goodreads, Fable, other book talkers as cozy reads, cozy fantasies. So
yep. Which this one is called The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. I've actually had this book for about a year now, and then we decided to do cozy reads again, which we did this at the request of our friend Kelly. So shout out Kelly. Here's your cozy episode. And this one, I forget where I found it, but it was listed somewhere online under a cozy fantasy. I
think it's when we were looking like last time, and we got into like really talking about like cozy fantasies and what is a cozy fantasy, and you and I started like looking, and it was one of the lists that you and I came through because we went through so many like not long ago, like a little less than a year ago, I think maybe.
Yeah. Which I will say, there's one disclaimer when while I would still categorize, after reading this book, I would still put it in cozy fantasy. But if you want to get technical, I would put this more in the magical realism category. I feel like when most people say fantasy, you're thinking of like magic and spells and long journeys and innkeeping and like stuff like that. That's not what this book is. This book still very much takes place in the real world. There's just certain fantastical elements that will happen.
Well, I mean, technically, under the Oxford, I decided to look this up so that people don't get angry with us. Okay. Under the Oxford Dictionary version, fantasy is, the activity of imagining impossible or improbable things. So I think we automatically jump to what you just described as like first thought fantasy, things like Lord of the Rings or Legends and Lattes, because like you said, innkeeping, long journeys, things like that. But I think with cozy fantasy, it's like impossible and improbable things, magical, mystical things, doesn't necessarily mean like long journeys and innkeepings, and it could even be modern day. So yeah.
But I just want to preface that mine's not like what people would normally think.
Okay.
But mine follows 3 different people. You get 3 points of view. The first one is in London in 1921. We follow Opaline. The second one is Martha. She's in modern day. She's in Dublin. Yeah, she's in Dublin. And then the third one is Henry, who is also in Dublin. So these chapters are also super short. This is one of those books you can pick up and read for like a couple of minutes, read a chapter, and then put it down if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
That's something Bianca is very big on. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you like to find chapters.
Yes, I do. So chapter 1 is from Opaline. We're in London, 1921. Lyndon, Opaline's brother, has found her a husband. However, she is refusing. She does not want to marry this man. She grew up with a lot of books. She lived a life of books. And that love of books was handed down from her now deceased father, and she is selling some of these books in order to escape and get away from her family and the soon-to-be husband. Chapter 2 is Martha. We are in Dublin, modern day. Martha is actually running away from an abuser. She takes a bus to Dublin, and she finds a job as a live-in maid for a very old, very eccentric actress. And then successively, chapter 3 is from Henry. Henry is looking for something, but we're not sure what he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to visit this place that he thinks he's looking for, basically. It's very unclear. And he accidentally runs into Martha, and they have a very awkward first encounter. During their encounter, though, we learn that Henry is like this research specialist, and he's into very rare books and all types of things. But we learned that Opaline is a rare book collector and used to be the best in the business. And yes, it is the same Opaline. So Opaline, she eventually runs away to France on a boat, and she meets a man named Armand Hassan, a very handsome man who rescues her luggage from a thief that was trying to steal it. Armand gives her his card, and he is a rare book collector from Morocco. He invites her out to dinner. She's a very cute girl. He's like, hey. And she's like, no, thank you. And she declines his dinner invitation in Paris. We learn that Martha has left her husband, and she's very good at reading people. She knows people's secrets without anybody telling her anything.
Does she have abilities, or
it's never explicitly explained what all her abilities are.
Okay.
But she can very easily read people.
Okay.
We have a time jump a little bit. We're back to Opaline in Paris in 1921, a few months later. Opaline stumbles upon a job. She finds an American woman opening a bookshop in Paris, and her name is Sylvia, and she begins working there. Martha is going to the library, and she accidentally runs into Henry at the library. Accidentally. It's kind of a meet cute situation. And they
accidentally on purpose or truly accidentally?
It's truly accidental, but you can tell that it's going to be like a meet cute situation type thing.
Okay.
And they immediately basically become very friendly. Henry finally tells Martha what he's doing. He is searching for a lost manuscript from a bookstore that doesn't seem to exist. Martha does some research, and up pops Opaline in Paris with none other than Ernest Hemingway. Opaline is living her life in Paris. She's glad to be free from her family and not have any expectations on her anymore. And she runs into Armand again. He invites her back to the apartment. Stuff happens.
Like no stuff?
Yeah, a little bit of no stuff. It doesn't go into like great detail, but it's not closed door.
Okay.
Afterwards, he escorts her back to her place, and that's when she notices that her brother's cane is in her apartment. We go back to Martha. The person that she's working for, her name is Madame Bowden, and she had some friends over, but Madame Bowden disappeared before the main course was ever served for dinner, and then they continued to insult Martha. Martha is obviously not very rich. She's not the most beautiful looking woman. She's kind of plain looking. And they just continue to insult her lack of education, her lack of status in society, her lack of money, that she has to take this job working for Madame Bowden. So she just kind of excuses herself from dinner, and she goes to her apartment that's in the basement of Madame Bowden's, like, mansion, basically. The next day, Henry wakes Martha up at 7 a.m. and asks her on a date. It was very cute.
You know what? No, sir. No. The answer is no. You want me up at 7 a.m.? No to the no.
Well, the thing is, in Martha's apartment, there's also a tree growing, like it's taking over the house, and it's starting in the basement. Okay. And Martha is trying to tell Madame Bowden about this, and she just kind of brushes it off and is like, oh, it's an old house. Things happen. Like, she's not taking her seriously. Thus, that plot line will come into play later. So we're back to Opaline. Her brother basically kidnaps her and forces her to go to a hotel where she meets the fiancé that she ran away from.
That's another no.
Yep. Her brother puts her in the room next to theirs rather forcefully, and a couple of hours later, Armand manages to rescue her. He was going to follow her to work and like surprise her with like breakfast and everything, but then he saw her brother basically kidnap her, so he followed them.
So it's like when Stalker works, basically?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Armand takes her to Sylvia, and they devise a plan to get Opaline to Scotland to a friend of Sylvia's. Back to modern day, Henry takes Martha to Trinity College to show her that she can belong anywhere. Martha is briefly considering attending university and getting a degree. Afterwards, they go to a pub, and Henry opens up about his alcoholic father and his horrible upbringing. Martha begins to detail how she stayed with Shane, the abuser, for so long.
Is this in some ways found family?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Mine is too, and so it sounded like that, and I was like, wait a second.
I'm also not going super deep because I want to leave you enough time to go through this, so I hope I'm not making this sound boring or anything, because it's actually a really good book. I'm just trying to quickly skim it.
No, that's why I have some questions. But I'm also trying not to ask questions that would, spoil anything.
Yeah, that's fine. So Opaline arrives in Dublin to find that Sylvia's contact had actually died. So she goes to the bookstore where she was supposed to be working, and she actually finds his son. His name is Matthew. Matthew explains that he was planning to sell the place, he had just died, in the past couple of weeks. And Matthew explains that he was planning to sell it, but after talking with Opaline, they decide that she will rent it from him in order to keep the book business. His father had the whole bookshop shipped from Italy. The locals think it's haunted. His father had painted this quote on the steps going up to the apartment that's above the bookshop. It said, "In a place called Lost, strange things are found."
You know what I'm getting vibes from as you're explaining this? Do you remember that book we read for Christmas about the three sisters who came back to their dad's antique /
Yes.
I'm getting those vibes as you're telling me about this book.
Yeah, follow those vibes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We learned that Miss Bowden had various husbands. Her first husband was the one who bought her this very opulent house that she's currently living in. There was a falling out between Henry and Martha too. I forget about what. I didn't notate it. But he apologizes to Martha, and they basically vow that they can remain friends, but it's not the right time to date just yet. Martha tells Henry that one of the women who had been to dinner claims to know about the bookshop that he has been searching for. And Henry, I'm trying to describe this. So in Henry's points of view, he tends to spend a lot of time in his head, and you can tell that he's not all the way there, if that makes sense. Not crazy, but just living in his own fantasy world.
Maybe he's on the spectrum, not all the way there, or just he's...
I would just say he disassociates a lot.
Oh, okay.
And in one of these chapters, Henry reminisces about the one time that he was able to go to this bookstore. And it was when he had shown up in a very drunken stupor after, I forget what had happened, but he had just accidentally stumbled into this bookstore. And then the next day he went to go find the bookstore again, and it was gone. So this is why it's called the Lost Bookshop, and that's why he's searching for it. Opaline and the shop don't get along at first. It seems to fight with her. If she categorizes a book under fiction, but the bookshop thinks it should be under fantasy, the bookshop would reject that book and move it to fantasy, and it would irritate her.
That would irritate me too.
She would if she set an alarm on a clock, the alarm wouldn't go off. The shop was messing with her. But she decides on a name for the shop. She'll call it, Bell Books.
I love it.
It doesn't belong to us, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry.
One day.
Matthew stops by to check on things and asks for a book for his son. He also mentions the boy's mother wants to join him in the banking business like the rest of her family. Previous to that conversation, they had been kind of flirty, oh, will they, won't they type situation. Mm-hmm. And Opaline was kind of disheartened to hear that the boy's mother was kind of still in the picture. At just that moment, the sink upstairs breaks and they both get wet. And in trying to clean up the mess, they end up kissing very passionately. But then Matthew immediately feels shame and he literally runs out of the shop.
No.
So Martha is sitting down to read Normal People by Sally Rooney. I've read that book. It's very boring.
Yeah.
But instead, she is shown a book called A Place Called Lost. It was a children's story about a bookshop in Italy that was blown over by a storm when a man from Ireland came to claim all the wood and rebuild it in Dublin. In the book, it has various quotes that Martha really relates to. One of them is, "What is something you create even if you do nothing? It's a choice."
I like it.
The next morning, Martha makes a choice to call the registrar's office of the local university to make an appointment for an interview. Just as she is leaving, she runs into Shane. He tells her that her mother has cancer and is in the hospital. He's blaming her for running off. This is all her fault. A friend of a friend had found her and reported back to Shane. He starts to verbally and mentally abuse her right then and there, making her feel guilty about ever leaving him and her mother. Mrs. Bowden shows up and basically tells Shane off. He leaves. Henry runs into Martha at the university. They talk for a little bit, and they're both kind of open and vulnerable, saying what's going on in each other's lives, and they end up kissing. Back to Opaline. She is traveling to the home of Emily Bronte, one of her favorite authors. While there, she runs into Armand, who is there on business. She realizes that she still has feelings for him, and she makes one last stop. Emily Bronte's old estate, not her house that she had died in. Evidently, it was two different houses.
Mm-hmm.
The descendant of that house is very kind and allows Opaline to have an old sewing box that she claimed used to belong to Emily. Opaline is like out of her mind, elated, like she actually owns something that belonged to Emily Bronte. Back to Martha. Shane shows back up that night, threatening her again. He had actually followed her and seen her and Henry kiss. He knocks her legs out from under her and she falls. She hits her head. She's bleeding real bad. They start yelling at each other. Madame Bowden appears and asks what's going on. Martha isn't quite sure what happens next because it happened very fast, all in a blur. Her head was bleeding. But next thing she knows, Shane is falling down a flight of stairs, and Martha sees bone. Madame Bowden calmly says that Martha needs to go down to the shops and get a roast for dinner that evening. When Martha gets back, everything is cleaned up, and Shane is gone. A policeman shows up later saying that they had found her ex-husband's body in the river. Martha plays it off. She has an alibi. She was at the shops all day, shopping just like Madame Bowden had requested. She gives the policeman all the shops she had visited for the dinner needs. After the cop leaves, Martha goes to confront Miss Bowden to ask what she did, and Bowden says, "I didn't do anything. I simply arranged to have the matter taken care of." So part of the inner ruminations of Henry is that he was technically engaged to a woman named Isabel that was living back in London. And he left London because he had been having mixed feelings about Isabel. And him meeting Martha really cemented everything that he and Martha were meant to be together and not he and Isabel. So he goes to break up with her, and Isabel does not take it very well at all.
But just because he had different feelings doesn't mean that she did.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and he basically just up and left her without an explanation either. So back to Opaline. 3 months after her return to Dublin and that one night stand with Armand, Opaline feels baby flutters in her abdomen.
Oh no.
Yeah. Martha goes to see Henry in person, but is told by the landlord that Henry had left to go back home to London. She's heartbroken because he didn't even tell her he was leaving. He was planning on it literally to be like an overnight thing. He didn't think Martha would come look for him that very day. Martha has to go back home for Shane's funeral so that she doesn't rouse any suspicions, and it's not easy. Shane's mother blames her for his death since she's the one that left.
Everybody.
but nobody knew about the abuse. She hadn't told anybody. She goes home with her parents to stay the night. And as she's getting ready for bed, her mom is like, not like lurking in the doorway, but just kind of like checking in on her. And just before she goes to say goodnight, she says, "I'm glad he's dead."
Oh, snap.
So the mom actually knew, even though Martha had never told her.
Martha is from which timeline again?
She's modern day.
Modern day, okay.
Martha and Henry are modern day. Opaline is the one from the 20s.
Okay, I thought so with a name like Opaline, but I wanted to make sure.
Let's see. While Henry's back home, his sister has a baby, and they name her Felicity Grace Field, and she actually came 2 weeks early. It was not planned. So Henry decides to stay and help out with the new baby.
That's quite a name, by the
way. Felicity Grace.
Yeah. How very southern of them.
So part of the reason that Opaline was so obsessed with Emily Bronte is because there was this supposedly lost manuscript that Emily Bronte had written that only a few people had ever heard flutters of. But Opaline was like obsessed with eventually finding that manuscript, and that was something she and Armand had bonded over. And Opaline is clutching that sewing box one night, and out pops a little notebook. It is actually the lost manuscript. Back to Martha. She continues to read that book, A Place Called Lost, and she discovers that everything Henry had been searching for with the Lost Bookshop was actually true. Everything in that book is laid out the exact same as Henry had said it was. Henry confronts his alcoholic father, basically telling him off for ruining his life, and he gets a flight back to Dublin so that he can get to Martha. Opaline randomly runs into Armand at a book dealer. They make plans for dinner, and she plans to tell him about the baby. However, the dinner does not go well. She had showed Armand the manuscript that she was so excited about, and they argue about it. Armand eventually calls her a French whore and leaves.
No, Armand.
Yeah. He never knew about the baby. Martha does enroll in classes, and she is taking her first evening class at Trinity, and it's a literature class. Henry shows up at the house. He's expecting to see Martha, but Madame Bowden, I wrote, gives him the what for. Basically telling him off for like up and leaving without telling anybody. However, he does manage to convince her that he, in fact, does love Martha. Opaline has a visitor, but when she goes to make tea for the visitor, she comes back with a tea and he's gone, but is left with a letter that she had addressed to Sylvia. She fears that Lyndon had found her again and that this mysterious stranger was sent by him. She makes travel arrangements to New York this time and entrusts Matthew with the manuscript. I'm going to skip over a little bit of this. So Opaline's hunches were correct. That mysterious stranger was sent by her brother Lyndon. They kidnap her and they take her to an insane asylum and have her committed.
Jesus.
Yeah. So in the wake of Shane dying, Martha sells the old flat that she had with him. She gets 20,000, it wasn't dollars, but whatever currency they use.
Euro.
Yeah, there we go. Her intuition or abilities or whatever it is you want to call it also tells her that she needs to go to the attic at midnight. And she ends up accidentally waking Madame Bowden because Madame Bowden's like, "What are you doing up at midnight?" So Opaline is in the asylum for a very long time. She does give birth, but it is stillborn. The cord had wrapped around the baby's neck.
Oh.
There was literally nothing that could be done. Martha's birthday happens, and Henry shows up and gives her this super expensive pen that they had been talking about on a date one time, and it cost like $1,000.
No, sir.
But it was something that Martha had, like, she was always fascinated with, like, writing instruments. So Henry thought that it would, like, impress her if he bought her that super expensive pen. Opaline is not mentally well after her stillbirth. I wouldn't be either. Her roommate Mary tries to help her, and Opaline ends up writing letters to her old friend Jane that she had grown up with. She doesn't know if Jane ever received those letters, though. Over the next year, her roommate Mary ends up getting super sick. Opaline tells her a story every night like she pictured she was going to do with her baby. I know. And Martha realizes that the book she's been reading, A Place Called Lost, may have actually been written by Opaline. She goes to talk to Henry about her discovery. So Henry and Martha decide to go visit the asylum where Opaline had been held. They have to lie and say that they work for the government in order to, like, get in the door. But they manage to get a few minutes alone in the admin office. They're trying to find anything they can on Opaline. They get caught in their lie and they have to hurry out, but not before Martha took Opaline's folder. So now we're really going to time jump with Opaline. We're going to go to 1941. Opaline gets a letter saying that her mother had passed. Opaline goes to the head doctor at the asylum to request permission to attend the funeral, but before she can get the words out, the doctor lets it slip that she had actually passed over a month ago.
Oh my God.
Opaline finally snaps, grabs a knife, and threatens suicide unless she is freed. She knows the suicide threat will work because her brother is paying a lot of money to the doctor to keep her there. The doctor agrees to the arrangement because he will not report her being gone so he can keep getting paid. Opaline realizes that the doctor knew this whole time that she wasn't crazy. So she gathers a few pieces of clothes and she runs away.
Which, sadly, that actually happened. The things that they would put women in asylums for in the 20s and before, and then, like, how they would, like, if they had money, pay people to keep them in the asylum, it's just, ugh.
And she was there for, like, 15 years, I think.
Jesus.
Martha's mom pays a visit. She greets Madame Bowden, and then she sits down with Martha to tell her some news. Her mother had been adopted. She felt it right for Martha to know. Before she leaves, she makes a strange comment about getting to meet Madame Bowden one day, but didn't she just meet her? That was a very weird conversation. I had to read that chapter like 3 times to figure out what was going on.
I have theories already.
Well, because she greeted Madame Bowden, but then she says she's excited to meet Madame Bowden one day. And Martha's like, what are you talking about, Mom?
So even Martha is confused. So you being confused as the reader, it's like, okay, because Martha's even like, what?
Yeah. Let's see. So Opaline makes her way back to the bookshop that she had owned. A German soldier is there, and he had been hiding out. And she basically says, get out of my bookshop, this is mine, and throws him out. The next day, he comes back with packages and a large tree branch saying she shouldn't be alone on Christmas Eve. And she hadn't even realized that it was Christmas Eve. He is a POW, but Ireland is a neutral country, so he's allowed out during the day, and he's taking classes at Trinity College. He's also not German, but Austrian, and he was forced to fight in a war that he wanted no part of. After a few days, he convinces Opaline to quietly reopen the shop because she needs a way to support herself and she needs a future to be excited about. Time jump to 1944. We learn that the soldier's name is Joseph, Josef, and he is being repatriated. He has to leave, and neither of them wants that. Martha wakes up one morning to discover that Madame Bowden is gone. She is extremely worried. She calls her mom to ask what to do, And the mother reiterates that she has never met Madame Bowden.
That's so
and Henry stops by and he sees that she needs a distraction from all the worrying. And my note cut off. I just wrote they end up missing. What do they end up missing?
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the next chapter, they end up having relations.
Sorry, I always love how you put it. It always cracks me up.
Do you want me to say they had sex? Like, what's better?
No, it's the way. It's not that you said they had relations. You do this little thing where you stop and you go, they had relations. It just makes me giggle and I love it. Never stop.
Okay. So afterwards, they end up talking about the bookshop. That's when Henry admits to Martha that he has actually been to the bookshop on his first night in Ireland. Martha then shows Henry the tattoo on her back. It's an unfinished story. Whenever Martha this is part of her reading ability, but she's basically been shown the story her entire life just in bits and pieces. She never knew what it was about, so she kept having the words tattooed on her back of the story. And she shows Henry the story on her back that she's had tattooed. She also shows Henry the photograph of Opaline and her skirt that had the same words on it. It's the same exact words, and it turns out that it is Emily Bronte's lost manuscript. Back to Opaline, we're doing another time jump to 1946. She went to London to meet with a journalist, and they are going to dig up all the dirt they can on Linden and publish it. She goes to confront him the night before it is published. They end up arguing. He tells her about the war. He had been in war and he had been injured, and he very obviously had some PTSD from it. They explained that the people who raised her were actually her grandparents, and Linden was actually her father. He let it slip that he's the one who got rid of Opaline's baby before it became a problem.
That's what I thought.
She thought the baby had died, but no, Linden had sold her.
That's what. Yes. No, not that. It's not good. Not good. I don't mean yes isn't good. I meant like I knew it.
As Opaline is walking out after all of these revelations, she hears a gunshot. He shot himself. Henry tells Martha that Opaline's baby had been given to the Cloheses. Martha says her grandmother was adopted by a couple with the last name Clohesi. Martha finally tells Henry that she can basically read his thoughts. They go to the attic and they go through a series of doors and tunnels that didn't used to be there. Back to Opaline, she begins writing the book A Place Called Lost and hoping that one day she will find her daughter. Just as she is closing the shop and headed upstairs for the night, she hears a knock at the door. Joseph has returned. His father had died, and he had never stopped loving her. He had also found a book that belonged to her real father, Alfred. No, that's not right. Her real grandfather, Alfred Carlyle. Martha is jolted awake by the tree that had been taking over the basement I told you about. Mm-hmm. And it had basically started messing with her. And which she's actually jolted awake at the absence of the tree. It had disappeared, and that had never happened before. She and Henry run upstairs, and instead of finding the rest of the house, the bookshop had appeared. In the stained glass windows was etched a woman wearing trousers with short hair and a soldier holding hands. This book does have an epilogue, and I wanted to say one of the quotes from it. The thing about books is they help you to imagine a life bigger and better than you could ever dream of. And Henry and Martha married, and they opened the bookshop.
I love it.
It was so good. That was a very, very brief overview.
So yes,
of
it tells us what happens in the end, but there's a lot more to it that you should just go read yourself, is what she's saying.
Yes, there was a lot that I did not cover. There are so many good quotes from this book. I think I only read 2 or 3. But if you are a lover of books, which if you're listening to this podcast, I know you are, you need to go pick up this book immediately.
Nice.
And that was The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods.
I think it's been on my TBR for a while, but I have never got to it. And I think even though you just told me everything, I still want to read it.
You still need to read it. It's still good. There's still a few plot twists I didn't even tell you about.
Freaking woman.
Well, let's hear about your book, Miranda.
So my book also has to do with books and found family. So some of the things, the biggest trope of this book is found family. There's some climate change things that happen, but not like climate change warrior. It's just like it makes some of our magic take place. There's a lot of self-growth. There is a slow burn romance that could qualify as like friends to lovers or like childhood sweethearts re-meet kind of thing. Maybe, yeah. Possibly, how you look at it. It is a cozy fantasy. So this is the Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the first, it's labeled as her first romantasy debut. It's very cottagecore. Give you some of the characters so you'll understand what we're going into. I have for you an anxiety-prone sentient spider plant.
Okay.
Who is also a librarian assistant. His name is Kaz.
What's a spider plant? I'm looking this up.
Yeah, look up a spider plant. I love spider plants. They're fantastic. We have a Keela, our main character. She's got like sky blue tinted skin, dark blue hair. She's a recluse librarian. She's forced to socialize and kind of discover who she really is. I don't want to like be like, oh, this person's autistic, but I definitely got some like spectrum ADHD something vibes with Keela.
Okay.
We have Laren, a very handsome, kind of like for a while you think he's nosy. I don't really think he's that nosy. I think he's just like, it's a very small like island and everybody knows everybody. But he's one of those like give you the shirt off his back, cares for everyone. Like, how can I help you? And I think he has a little bit of a savior complex, if I'm being honest. We have Bryn, this super funny, really charismatic, turns out to be very supportive and cheerful baker who apparently makes the best cinnamon rolls in the world. And then we will end up having a talking cactus. Named Meep.
Meep.
Yes. Not to mention there's mer horses and mermaids and people wearing antlers and a winged cat and a lone unicorn and just it's delightful.
It's delightful.
It is delightful. The author herself has a note at the end that basically says, I wanted to write a book that felt like a warm hug.
Aww. Did she succeed?
She succeeded.
Okay,
yes. Good. It's like a Hallmark rom-com with magical creatures in all the best ways. Lots of discussion of baked goods and books and being a librarian and yeah. So that's like the overall. So Keela is our main character, and she's kind of always had trouble like dealing with people, but she is a librarian of the Great Library in Elysium, which is like the big main like ruler seat of this. I really don't know if it's like a kingdom or like just one country or what it is. I don't remember that part, but she is a librarian at the Great Library of Elysium, and her assistant Kaz, who's a spider plant, have kind of spent the last decade kind of sequestered amongst all these like precious spell books of the Empire. There we go. They're like preserving their magic for the city's like elite. Like if you live in Elysium, like you have money, you're like elite. But a revolution kind of breaks out at the very beginning, and the library starts going up in flames, and she's like, oh my God, you gotta save the books, gotta save the books, gotta save the books. But she also knows that, like, removing these spells books and having them on her property is technically illegal. But in her mind, she's a librarian, and she just needs to save the books, and she just needs to save herself because she doesn't want to go down with the library. But so she decides to flee, and she goes to her childhood home via boat. Because she knows it's remote. Her parents don't live there anymore. Actually, I think her parents have maybe fully passed. I feel bad that I can't remember that because I just read this book.
It happens.
Sometimes, to me, if there's like insignificant details, well, not that they're insignificant, but if my brain deems them insignificant, like I didn't need that, then I flush it.
Yeah.
So I can't remember, but her parents had moved them to Elysium. Like, they lived on this small island where everybody knows everybody, and they wanted like better life for themselves and for Keela. So they had moved to Elysium, and that's why she was there in the first place. But she remembers, like, wait, I used to live here. It's very remote. No one will ever find me. So she takes off for this remote island where she grew up to take refuge. And when her and Kaz get there, she kind of discovers, like, the house is still there, but it's kind of sort of in disarray. And she's also she doesn't want to tell anybody about the revolution, which I've never quite understood why, other than the fact of she keeps saying she's afraid if she tells someone, they'll come find her. And she's so afraid that it's illegal. She doesn't know about the people that have overthrown the government. If they would, like, yes, they're supposed to be, like, better, but, like, what would they do to her?
Yeah.
So she takes refuge in her old home, and the nosy neighbor, he's very handsome. She recognizes that pretty immediately. He shows up. I think he's supposed to be, like, 5-6 years older than her, but they still would have, like, grown up together as children, but she doesn't recognize him. Of course, she's been gone for so long. She doesn't recognize, like, a lot of people. She's apparently been gone since she was, like, a child. So he keeps showing up daily, like, because she gets there and she realizes, oh my God, all I took from Elysium are the books that I was so worried about protecting. I have no skills. I'm a librarian. Like, not that librarians don't have skills, but she tells you this. Like, I've spent my life in the library. My meals were provided for me. Things were done for me. She's like, I have no skills. I don't have any food. I don't have any money. Like, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do anything. And she's like, oh my gosh. So she's thinking about that, and the neighbor shows up and is like, can I help you? Like, one day he brings her food, and she's making her nervous because her goal was to, like, land on this island and, like, sneak to her family's home and just, like, not let anyone know she was even there, which I don't know how she thought that was going to go. Like, I mean,
yeah, what did she expect?
Right. So, but I think, honestly, she was so into the books. Like they said, she has trouble dealing with people. Like, you can tell she's, like, very socially kind of, like, awkward. Her books and Kaz, the spider plant, like, are her friends.
That was her life.
Yeah, that's her life. That's her friends. So she's getting really nervous with Laren showing up every day. But, like, the first day he brings her, like, I think, is it either the first or second day he shows up is the first mention of the cinnamon rolls. And then she realizes...
Are there recipes for these included in the book?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember there being any recipes in my copy. Hang on.
Okay.
I did a combination of Kindle and Audible. I will say, if you enjoy audiobooks, the narrator was really good. It was a 2x speed for me, but I'm just one of those weirdos. Let me see. I'm going to Google while I'm telling you. Spellshop recipes.
I didn't know if it was like the last one that...
Yeah, there's a lot of time when you read books like these, they do include recipes, it tends to.
Yeah.
That would be interesting if she included them, but unfortunately it's like they only mention them, and they're not done by the main character. They're done by her friend, the girl that becomes her friend, Bryn.
Okay.
That's the baker in town. So she realizes, like, I can't keep, like, getting money. I can't keep getting stuff off of him. I don't even want him to come around. And she actually turns really rude a few times, and he gets, like, really apologetic. And at one point he gets a little, like, defensive and rude back. And for a brief moment at the beginning of this book, when she gets so rude at him for showing up, I kind of got angry, and I was like, I'm about to not like this girl. Like, I'm about to be angry. Like, come on now. And then I realized, like, she talked, like, they're like talking over the top of each other, and like, it's when it clicks for you. He doesn't know how to talk to people. She doesn't know how to talk to people, but he knows that you should help people and that you should want to help people. So he's like trying to just be a good person, but he doesn't know how. He's socially, neither one of them know social cues. Basically, is what it comes down to. But she ends up, she's like, well, I can't do this. So she ends up trying to sneak into town. And again, she hopes that she can just go to the market, maybe barter or like figure out how to get a few things and then like go home. And she ends up meeting basically the entire town. You've got this busybody that's always like, what are you doing here? Like, well, she's the weird one. She's the odd one. We don't know her. Like, you want to strangle this old man by the end of the book. But she goes into town, of course. You can't just go into town and not be identified. You have blue hair and a blue body, and you have your mother's eyes and smile, and your father and mother are from this island. And even though you haven't been here since you were a wee child, people are going to figure out who you are. So she ends up, the lady Bryn at the bakery ends up like giving her. So like at one point she talks about she's walking home and she's got a chicken because she doesn't understand social interactions. At one point they're like, what do you need? And she just starts blurting things out. Like, she's like, maybe this. And she's like, and a chicken. Like, and then she was like, she's having this internal conversation with herself where she's like walking home with this chicken. And she's like, I don't even know how to take care of a chicken. Like, I just wanted some eggs to eat. But she's also kind of asking Kaz to hide at this point because she's like, sentient spider plant, people are going to like this isn't going to go well. And then she walks into town and realizes that people are different and like maybe it's not so bad that she has a spider plant.
When you say sentient spider plant, does it sorry, I had to cough.
No, it's okay.
Does it like talk aloud to people?
Yes, he has full conversations and he is sassy AF.
Okay. I didn't know if it only spoke to her like with her mind or something like that.
No, it talks to her, it talks to Laren, it ends up talking to the town folk. Him and the cactus have full conversations, which the cactus only says meep. So the cactus is kind of like Groot if you think about it.
Yeah.
But he has full on, like he basically, like when she's being weird and doesn't know how to socially interact, he'll say something to her and he'll be like, but what do I know? I'm only a spider plant. Like so within the interactions of like going into town and stuff, they crack a deal. Like she's got all these books. Again, she's still paranoid about these books, like these illegal magic books, right? Well, it's not that they're illegal, it's that she took them the way she did, and in her brain it was for protection. But she's so afraid that someone is going to come from Elysium because she still, when she left, she doesn't quite know how the revolution, like what happened. So she ends up in the cleaning of the cottage, which Laren is helping her do, and she's actually becoming slowly friendly with the town folk. She realizes that one of the things that they don't have in town that the bakery or nobody has is jam. And she's like, she finds this old recipe book that belonged to her parents. Apparently that is like, it's not magic. It's like a legitimate recipe book. And she thinks to herself, I have all these magic books and I've got to make a life for myself. I've got to try to figure this out. What if I just used the magic to like maybe make the garden in the back that it's like desolate. It's done. Like it's been abandoned for so long. She's like, what if I just made like some fruit grow? You know, what if I just, so I can make jam and then I could make money. And that's how it kind of starts. That's how her magic starts, as she gets together with the books that she's not supposed to have, and she starts making jam. And her and Laren work together. They clean up her house. She opens a jam shop, which some people are like, jam, that's all you sell? And she's like, well, she can't tell people Oh, I magicked. She's like terrified to tell anybody that she magicked these things. And there ends up being a really cute scene between her and Laren where you find out actually he was a kid while she was a kid, just a few years older, but not old enough that it would have been like creepy. And he used to like listen to her sing when she would perform in like the square with the other kids. And there was possibly a moment where he rescued her from like she almost got hurt bad situation. And you start learning more and more about them. So that's where you kind of get like the hallmarky rom-com of like they're friends to lovers kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's again that grumpy old man that starts shit. And a life starts to really develop for herself, and things are going well. He has helped her build bookshelves in the back, puts up all the books. She's got the books going. The jam shop is booming. She's made trees that were once withered and dead in the forest on this island come back to life. She's brought back like the strawberries and the raspberries, and she starts doing small things for people with magic to help those in the village. And she's got one guy that's supposed to be, I forget what his title is right now, but it's kind of like each city or each town is supplied with like a Merlin, so to speak. Not really that they do like spells, but they make sure people are like following the rules with spells and not breaking them. And you think it led you to believe he's going to be like a problem. But her and Laren are growing closer. He takes her to ride the mer horses, which everybody in the village is like giggle gasping because they're like, he doesn't let anyone near his mer horses. It's one of those like, you know what I'm talking about? Like on those Hallmark movies where they're like, oh, he took you horseback riding. It's really cute. It's really cute.
Like giggling and everything.
Yeah, like the town folk are like, what? He don't let anybody around his mer horses. And it's a really cute scene. But everything's going really well for her. And then this random woman shows up the same way that Keela did via boat. She actually almost drowns. Like when they find her, she's like, there's this horrible storm happening. And apparently these storms like keep happening like a lot. And they're like, that's because Elysium doesn't send anybody. They don't send any of their, magicians to help us anymore. They're just worried about themselves, those rich blah, blah, blahs. So it kind of has a small, like little, you don't realize it, but it's kind of talking about how like societal, that's not the word I'm looking for. Help me. Class. Like we're out here on the island and we just have to make do for ourselves. Kind of not that they're poor.
Oh, okay.
They're considered poor against like the elite in Elysium, and they're like the king or whatever doesn't even care about us anymore. He doesn't even send anybody for us. All they want is their taxes, kind of thing. Like it's very subtle, but like because they're not sending magicians, they're not sending help. They're starting to have these like horrific storms that is like every time one comes through, like they always wonder like who's going to be gone now, what business is going to be wiped out, like. So this lady comes in via the storm on a boat, and she is very mysterious, and immediately Keela thinks, oh my God, they found me out. They sent her after me. Like, she's panicking. She's freaking out. Laren actually saves the woman because Laren is Laren. He's got that, like, complex. And she immediately starts getting jealous, and that's when she realizes, like, maybe she has a thing for Laren. But, like, she could have told him, like, 5 times, and he could have told her, too. So there's an eensy bit of miscommunication, but it's not so much that it irritated me.
Okay. I was like, you and I tend to pick those communication trope books.
I know, and I hate it. So she misunderstands, again, not having social cues because, I mean, they found this woman, and she's not even awake. Like, she's basically not in a coma, but she's like knocked out, right? So Laren takes her at his house. They work together to warm her up. They put her in his bed, like all of those things. And then for like the next, like, it's like 3 or 4 days, like Laren doesn't come to see her. She comes by to see him and he's really like, quick hush, like, I gotta go, closes the door. So she starts in her head going, oh, that's it. Like they had this meet cute. Like she doesn't call it that, but like she's having like a inner like, oh my God, yep, that's it. He likes her now. You know what? I'm just gonna forget him. Like it's very like, and that's not it like at all. The lady ends up lying about who she is because she panics. She ends up telling everybody someone here is using magic. Someone is doing, I forget the term, but it'd basically be like this investigator, and that's why I'm here. And she's like, I knew it. They sent someone after me. And you go through that whole process, and it turns out the lady actually is running from something herself. She's not an investigator. Either her sister or aunt or someone in her family was. So when everybody was questioning her, like, where are you from? Who are you? Because she was also running for something. She just did like Keela did with the chicken and like blurted out the first thing that came to her mind.
Yeah.
I won't say what she's running from because I feel like that's something I would like to save. I'm trying to save some things because I want people to read this book. It's really, really good. And In With a Storm rolls in. So there's like this whole plot line where, they're so worried about this lady that they think is the investigator. And then like, she's like, I got to hide the books. She knows me. She figures me out. We can't let this happen. And this is when Keela realizes that the town really does want her to be part of their life. Like, no, you are one of us. You've become one of us. Like, let's help you. Let's work together. And so Bryn, the baker, everybody kind of comes together and supports Keela, does what they need to do. But then they find out the truth about this young lady, and they look at her and they're like, nope, we're going to help you too. Because someone does show up again, now looking for the lady that lied about being an investigator. Because, like I said, she was being looked for as well. In the end, I mean, if it's a 5-star cozy mystery, or not cozy mystery, but cozy read, warm hug, everyone knows everything turns out great, obviously, but I won't tell you how it turns out great. This is a book, from my understanding, it is a standalone. It's a fantastic book for a standalone. It ended very well. It had a small little epilogue in the back as well that kind of closed things up. It didn't do anything that I was like, ugh. When epilogues do stuff that you're like, really?
Yeah.
But Meep the cactus and Kaz the spider plant, I think, are a thing now.
Okay.
I think I mean, sentient plants got to stick together in one way or another. But that little relationship is adorable. Meep ends up being part of like the day ending perfectly as well. Lots of magic and her coming into her own. So not only is it found family, it's kind of like finding yourself. She'd never used magic prior to her wanting to try to bring the town, bring things back and basically take care of herself. But she has like a moment, like this epiphany, and I think Kaz and Meep and Laren and everybody kind of helps her have it together where they're like, but you're not illegal because you didn't do any of this for purely selfish reasons. Like you've not done any horrible spells. You everything you've done to help someone.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cute. There were a couple of moments that if you're a crier, you might cry. I didn't, but I was like, oh. But if you're a crier, hope. You might cry. But it's like in a good way. All of the people it's kind of, in my opinion, like Legends and Lattes mixed with Dang, I don't know now. I had it. It was right there on the tip of my tongue. But if you liked Legends and Lattes, I think you would like this one. There is some mystery going on because clearly we're trying to figure out like what's going on in the main city. Who is this, woman that showed up, and then the people that come looking for her, like, why do they care?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of mystery. There's obviously a lot of magic. There is some romance. If I remember correctly, when things actually finally do happen between anyone, it's all closed door. I don't remember anything. Yeah.
Nothing untoward happened.
No. It was very chaste. Like, very, like, if I had a teenage...
Well, and most of the time, cozy fantasy tends to be that way anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. I had never heard of this author before either, but apparently she's written many other books. It's just this is her first, like... they classify it as romantasy. I don't know if I would. I think that word is starting to be overused.
Well, see, I was confused because I've heard of the book, The Spellshop, but its cover is very similar to a book called The Honey Witch,
which I also love.
And I thought that's what you were covering.
No, but that's a good one.
But the covers are very similar.
Hang on. I think there's 2 covers to The Honey Witch.
Oh, okay. I've only ever seen the one that looks like The Spellshop.
Oh, I see why you would say that. It's got, like, they both have, like, a house in the distance with, like, flowers and greenery.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at them side by side, you're like, oh, yeah, definitely different. But if you're just, like, quickly thinking, yeah, I could see where you would think that. So fantasy, yes, because she does have to go on an adventure to get on an island. She does kind of have to go on an adventure to find herself again. There is some, like, will they, won't they romance. Definitely found family. Audiobook is wonderful. Physical book is only 384 pages. It actually just came out this year, July 9th. Everyone that I have seen, like, in America that goes and picks up a copy, it has these beautiful lavender sprayed edges.
Yes, I was just looking at that.
It's gorgeous. My copy here, my English copy here, does not have sprayed edges, which I've started taking some pictures and videos I want to share with you and the girls. Sprayed edges are big here. Like, like, when I go to the bookstore, which they're all in, like, Czech, or, like, the other day I was in Hungary, they were all in Hungarian. Like, they be sprayed edges, lots of books.
Yeah.
They're
getting jealous. More popular.
Well, I mean, because, listen, book reading and book collecting are 2 different hobbies, and most of us do both. And people want pretty books on their shelf.
Yeah, I want to display it and be like, look at my pretty books.
Look, it's the carcasses of all of my... Yeah, that kind of... If you like Hallmarky rom-com with mythical creatures, lots of mentions of eating cinnamon rolls and other breads and jams... This will not only kind of, like, feed your soul with that, but in some ways it will heal your heart, because there are, it's just mentions. It's never anything, like, horrible, but you realize that both Laren and Keela, and even some people in the village that become secondary characters, may have some childhood traumas that they're working through. Not that they had, like, bad families or anything, but, like, it just was a hard life, essentially, being out there in a lower class. By the way, the nosy old man, he ends up, like, calling everybody out. And nothing bad happens to him, but he does end up removed from the island.
Good.
Yeah, because they, like I said, they all band together and say, no, we're going to help you. We're going to help both of you, essentially. And when the other person shows up and starts questioning, has anybody seen a person you've never seen before? He's like, I know someone that's like that. Like, both times. Oh, there's 2 young ladies that are new to the village. And everybody's like, shut up. But he plays into the story, so you have to have him. I left a whole bunch out, like a whole bunch. But I read it pretty quickly. I actually read it in like a day and a half.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
I probably could have finished it in a day, but I was like, I have things to do.
Don't we all, unfortunately?
Unfortunately. Any questions about the Spellshop?
No, it sounds very good. I just added it to my TBR.
Yay. Currently on Goodreads, it has a 4.2. I gave it 5 stars.
I think I gave Lost Bookshop 4 just because there were some spots that kind of dragged a little to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially from Henry's point of view, his meandering daydreaming and fantasizing and all of that, it gets a little much sometimes. So I was just like, okay, Henry, move on.
Disassociate, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I went through the list of books written by Sarah Beth Durst. There was a couple of them that I was like, have I actually heard of that before? But I've not read anything of hers. But this is the only one of hers that's like cozy like, I don't like using the word romantasy for this, but this is the only one like that kind of fits this genre. Apparently, she normally reads or writes like she writes adult, young adult, and children's books.
Oh.
So I'd be interested to see what comes from her next. I'm kind of hoping that she does more in this vein because it was amazing. It was amazing. And it's all over TikTok right now.
Yeah.
A lot of, let me rephrase that. A lot of the book talkers that I follow have been all about it. So I highly recommend this book. And
are there any... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you guys have any cozy fantasies that you think should be on mine and Bianca's radar, let us know.
Do you want to mention any other books you have bought since we last recorded or you have acquired?
I have acquired some books, but I've been trying to behave. I really, really have.
That's not allowed, Miranda.
Do I?
That's not allowed.
Well, I mean, I have to. I did acquire several more books for my library project. I added some children's books for my library project. I acquired several of the Diary of the Wimpy Kids, the Twilight Saga. Because, I mean, every English library needs the Twilight Saga.
Yes, they do.
Duh. I purchased and read a book that you also read, and I'm really sorry, but I did not like it as much as you did.
Remind me which one?
The Revenant games.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were busy that day because you were like, you didn't like it, and I told you why, and then it was like crickets, and I was like...
I think that was the day everything went down, if I remember correctly.
I think it was. But that one was technically recently acquired and read.
Remind me who the author of Margie Fuston. There we go.
Yeah, which I'm going to give her another chance because isn't she the one that wrote... There's a book that our friend Sabrina loved.
The vampire one.
Yes, and I have had that on my list for forever, which the Revenant games is also a vampire. And then there's book 2. Have you read book 2?
It's not out yet.
Oh, it's not out yet. Why do I do this to myself?
Brittany asked me the same thing. She's like, Bianca, why'd you let me read this book without the second one out? I was like, I'm sorry. It was good, though. We both enjoyed it.
Listen, I gave it 3 stars. And let me just be honest. You know, I love witches. I love vampires. I didn't love that they were basically bad guys in this. Like, that's not giving anything away by saying it. Right? Yeah. Did not love that fact, but then again, I guess there's enough books where they are like neutral or like they're bad but you love them. So, okay, I'll give it that. But from page 1, literally page 1, if people had just be talking to each other,
yeah,
nothing in this book that happened would have happened.
There was a huge communication trope. And it's like, it's not even just a one-time thing. Like, no, every character has this trope.
With everyone. Everyone is lying.
It's everyone, like no one knows how to speak.
Yes. Like, everyone is lying to everyone. Like, her parents, her sister, the best friend, the vampires they meet along the way, the witches that they work with along the way for the Revenant games. Like, everyone is lying to everyone. Everybody has a different motive. But that has nothing to do with the miscommunication. They're just flat out not talking to each other. Like, it even says at one point, like, her parents just don't even speak to her, like, anymore. Like, no one is talking to anyone. And literally on page 1, when this book kicks off, if she had just told her sister, if she had just told the best friend, we wouldn't be in this mess. And that's where I started to get really irritated. And the main character to me is a little irritating.
Yeah, she was not a reliable person.
No, and maybe that's what our author, Margie, was going for. Maybe she wanted an unreliable narrator, so to speak. But I was like... However, I made some predictions pretty early on that turned out to be true. I'm not going to say them here because it's a huge ruiner. You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
So because of that predictor, I have to read book 2 because I now need to see how that plays out.
Which I think this is just going to be a duology. I don't think it's going to be a full series. So
I'm okay with that because while I love a series, my heart is kind of hurting when I stop and realize, like, a series I love that I thought, like, oh, okay, we were done. It's not.
Yeah.
And we're on, like I was looking at one the other day and I was like, wait. There's 15 books in that series. I didn't know. When did it get up to 15 books? Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's, and the specific series I'm referring to right now, they're not like 200-page reads. They're like 400 and 500. And I'm like,
That's a lot of time.
I mean, I have been reading this series since like 2007, but like somewhere I didn't know she'd written more, and I was like,
oh wait, are you talking about the Mortal Instrument?
No.
Oh.
It's one of my favorite series of all times, and a lot of people are like, wait, if it's your favorite series of all time, how did you not know she didn't write more? I genuinely didn't know she had written more. Like, I was not getting notifications from like Goodreads, her as an author, nothing. It's the Hollows.
It's a surprise.
Series. Yeah, it's like a surprise that Miranda doesn't like. I mean, I'm excited because I love this world and I love these characters, but I'm like, well, damn, I gotta start back at book 1 now. 15. And she's not done, she said. Now I got a mental note. She said she's not done.
Is that the one by Kim Harrison?
Yeah, that's my Kim Harrison Hollow series.
Okay.
They're fantastic. I love them. Like, they helped mold and shape me. But that's just a little like, are you kidding me? So collected the Revenant games, collected the books for the library program. Oh, I obtained and finished the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Yes. Which I will save to talk about Spooky Month. But
well, just real quick, you liked that one, right?
Oh, I did. I really did.
Okay.
And I had a lot of people tell me that they didn't think I would, or that I would be frustrated with it, because there are some things. And not to leave people hanging for like a whole month, but I feel like that fits more into Spooky Month. So I will talk about it more then. But I have lots of reasons why I think it's better than people give it credit for.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
So what about you? Have you read or acquisitioned anything you would like to tell the boys and girls about?
I only acquisitioned one book. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is our mutual friend Josh's favorite book ever. He owns like 15 different copies of this book.
Well, I need to read it.
He basically strangled me when I said I had never read it. So I picked it up.
Sorry, I've never read it either, so I'll pick it up.
I will pick it up and I will read it so that he and I can discuss this. That was the only one I bought. I'll go over a few of my recent reads.
Okay.
I finally got to A Whisper in the Walls by Scott Reintgen. He's the one who wrote one of my favorite books I read last year. It's called the Waxway series. My mind is blanking on.
I am not remembering this one, so I cannot help you.
It's the one that I described as if Hermione went to university and then went on a grand quest like they do in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. Yes, but I don't remember.
You found A Door in the Dark.
Yes.
So I read A Door in the Dark last year. A Whisper in the Walls came out a couple of months ago, and I read it actually just this past week. It was just as good as A Door in the Dark. But I think it's going to be a trilogy because I was left on a cliffhanger. I was like, no! But yeah. I also read Dungeons and Drama by Kristy Boyce. It was recommended to me by my friend Caitlin. It was cute. It was very predictable.
Yes.
I would call it like just a regular cozy read. Like there's no high stakes or anything like that. It's about two teenagers. But it was very cute. I also read Untouchable by MC Pending. This is MC Pending's first book that she published as a teenager. The third one in this trilogy just came out. I am interested to see how the second one goes. Untouchable was the first one. It reminded me a lot of The Maze Runner.
So wait, you said this is the first book she published as a teenager. So like she is a teenager, or like this is a book that she wrote when she was a teen and she's just now publishing it?
No, I don't think she's a teenager anymore because this was published. When was this published? It was published in 2021. I think she's in her early 20s now.
Oh, okay, but it was like her first book is what you're saying. Okay, got you. Sorry, I was not understanding.
It was her first book, but she also published it as a teenager.
Gotcha.
I think she was like 17 when she self-published it.
That's pretty impressive.
But it's been gaining traction on social media, and I saw it, and I was like, hey, I want to read that, and I did, and it was good. I also read Wish of the Wicked by Danielle Paige. I had received an arc of this a long time ago. I'm sorry, Danielle Paige. She's the one who wrote the Dorothy.
She actually follows us on TikTok.
Oh, does she?
She does. She follows us on TikTok.
Hi, Danielle Paige.
I don't know if she listens to us, but hey, girl, hey.
I love your Dorothy series.
Oh my God, yes.
It's really good.
We should cover that sometime.
Yeah, we should. I read Wish of the Wicked. It was a really good story. I loved the plot of it. It was just a little long for me. There was a lot that could have been cut out. I gave it 3 or 4 stars. I forget which one I gave it. But it was not bad by any means. And it, as far as I know, it's just a one-off. And it didn't end on a cliffhanger or anything, so it all wrapped up pretty well. But it's a alternate telling of the fairy godmother.
Okay. I love retellings. I really do.
And then the last one I'll mention is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. She's the one who wrote Babel and the Poppy War series.
Mm-hmm.
This was it's set in modern world. It's not a fantasy or anything, but it's a commentary on the current publishing climate for books and what authors are allowed or not allowed to write about.
Which is crazy.
She's the one I sent that TikTok to you. I don't know if you remember, a long time ago.
I actually follow her. And I don't always see her stuff, so I always appreciate you even sending me something I follow because, like I said, I don't always see it. But she is brilliant. You guys should all follow her if you're on social media. She explains a lot of things and says, like, in a very eloquent way, but she explains a lot of things that, like, other people just won't or don't.
Yeah. But I felt it was a very good commentary on the current publishing climate. I very much appreciated it because it's one of those things that if anyone other than someone like R.F. Kuang had said these things, they would be drug under the mat for it.
Absolutely.
So I truly appreciated this book. The main character of the book is not a great person, but that's how it's meant to be, and that's how it's supposed to be told.
That's like that those Miss Parrish books I read, where I was like, I texted you, was like, this girl sucks.
But those are all the ones that I'll mention. If you ever want to know how we rate them or what we're reading, be sure to follow our Instagram and TikTok, Bells with Books podcast on both platforms. You can type that in, will pop up. You can also follow me personally on Instagram and TikTok. I am at Style and Freak. You can find Miranda by typing in @momsAnerd. She'll pop up either way. And Miranda, if you want to tell us what all's going on the rest of the Place to Be Nation feed.
So on the rest of the feed, we have, lots of sports have kicked back off. So if you are a sports fan as well as a reader, we have different things for you. Over on the current Place to Be Facebook group, if you guys would like to join, we are still in the midst of our Cartoons of Our Youth tournament. That's what I'm calling it, because we also have a podcast on the feed called Cartoons of Our Youth. But we're basically voting, and we will get down to the ultimate winner of what everyone in the group deems as the Place to Be Nation best cartoon of our youths. There are modern day, old, and when I say old, like even before I was born, that is on there. There's something for everyone. The group is fantastic. Coming soon in the group will be my 31 days of Halloween that I do every year, so please come and check that out. I may bleed it over onto our TikTok for our TikTok followers as well. So we have those things going on. There's literally something for everyone on Place to Be Nation. Please reminder, we have the Place to Be Facebook group. We have placetobenation.com, where you can read articles, find links to all the podcasts, including mine and Bianca's, as well as see all of the other feeds that we love to work with, that we call them our brother-sister feeds, that have more podcasts for your listening ears. So you can check those out as well. We got plenty of more month activities coming up for you, Bianca and I do, for the next couple of months. So send us your suggestions. Cozy mysteries, cozy fantasies, horror, spooky, that doesn't necessarily have horror. Send them our way, because you always keep reading.